Okay, fundamental theorem of calculus was introduced, and it has two parts. Only part 2 was introduced, and that was very convenient form so that you can use it to compute those definite integrals. And it requires you being able to compute that antiderivative. Part 1, I explained that last time. It's saying that the antiderivative exists as long as f is continuous. But it doesn't mean that you can actually calculate it, so I wrote here again. Part 1 of the fundamental theorem of calculus says that it exists, but for many cases of continuous function, if you write them down, it is not possible to write those down in antiderivatives such that it can be computed using finitely many elementary functions. Let me explain that with a square root thing again. Square root of 2 is a number in the real line. If you square it, becomes 2. And maybe if you're not trained enough and your earliest age, you don't believe that such number exists, but now you encounter this shape, the right triangle with this side and that side being 1, and you clearly look at that number's length is out there. Not in reality, there's a limitation to measure this down to any arbitrary precision. If you believe this space exists in our mind, the real number system, then you know this is supposed to be square root of 2 using finitely many rational numbers. People realized in ancient time it's not possible to describe that square root of 2, right? It's not computable using finitely many rational numbers. But it exists. It's right there in front of our eyes, right? So they invented this notation. It exists. What should we call that? And what's called square root of 2. So that's a simple example of computability. It's not computable, but it exists. So it was easy in the geometric way. I hope you find that also easy to accept later, that I will show you that it actually exists in front of us. And here's a function, but you can't really write them down in terms of function that you know. All right, so that's part 1. So right now we're going to focus on this part